Welcome back, everyone, to this deep dive.
Yeah.
And we're really excited to dig into something today that is so fundamental when it comes to building wealth,
Yeah.
the kind of wealth that can last for generations.
Right.
We're talking about the power of saving.
I think that's something that a lot of people, when they think about getting ahead financially, it can feel like
Yeah.
a game that's only for the people who are already
Right.
kind of well off,
Absolutely.
But the really interesting thing about the material that you sent over that I had a chance to look through is this idea that every little bit that you manage to save contributes to a more secure financial future and ultimately to a lasting legacy, for your family and the people you care about.
So true. And that's exactly what we want to explore in this deep dive.
Exactly.
Why saving, no matter how small the amount might seem right now, really is crucial for everyone.
Right.
We'll be looking at some practical steps.
Yeah.
Some of which were outlined in the sources you gave me. And the mindset that makes it all work.
I think that mindset piece is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things that really jumped out at me from the material was this idea that wealth isn't just about the income
Right.
that you're bringing in.
Yeah.
It's about what you manage to keep.
Yeah.
And, we see this over and over again, this idea that retaining a portion of your earnings
Yeah.
is a cornerstone of financial growth.
I think it's so easy to get caught up in the idea that only people with, these huge salaries can actually build wealth.
Yeah.
But the sources you shared really emphasize how consistent saving,
Right.
even if it's just little bits here and there over time,
Yeah.
it really can make a big difference.
It's a huge difference.
I love the snowball analogy.
Right. It's sort of classic.
Yeah, like a snowball rolling down a hill. It just keeps gathering more and more snow.
Exactly.
And in the financial world, that snow is like interest and potential investment gains.
Yeah.
One of the articles actually mentioned that saving even just a small percentage consistently from a really early age can result in some pretty impressive returns.
Really impressive.
Decades later.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating to me, especially given your interest in long-term financial well-being, is how this directly connects to the concept of generational wealth.
Right.
It's not just about leaving behind a massive inheritance.
Right.
It's about fostering a culture of financial responsibility.
Yeah.
Healthy money habits that can be passed down through families.
Almost like a financial toolkit for future generations.
Exactly. Equipping future generations with that toolkit.
Right. Giving them the skills and the understanding.
Yeah.
They need to navigate their own financial lives.
For sure.
So important. And instilling that habit of saving early on, even in small ways.
Yeah.
It's like giving them a head start, a real advantage.
It really is. And it brings up this question, that I think a lot of people wrestle with. And probably something that you've even thought about yourself.
Oh, for sure.
How do you even begin to save
Right.
when it feels like there's barely anything left over at the end of the month?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Several of the articles you sent over kind of touched on that challenge.
It can be overwhelming, for sure.
It can feel like you're just drowning sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But one of the initial steps that really resonated with me was this idea of creating a budget.
Yes, budgeting's so important.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, this complicated spreadsheet or anything. It's just about getting a clear picture of where your money is actually going.
Or like an honest look at your own spending.
And that can be incredibly illuminating. And it allows you to identify potential areas where you could cut back.
Right. Even just trimming small amounts here and there.
Exactly. And one of the articles made this point.
Yeah.
That even saving a seemingly insignificant amount, like $5 a week,
right,
it really does add up over time.
It does.
It's about initiating the process.
Right.
Building that saving muscle.
Yes. And I think that leads perfectly to the next point, which is consistency.
So important.
Right, because that consistent small action is way more powerful than, like those sporadic larger efforts.
Absolutely. And there was this analogy in one of the pieces you sent.
Yeah, I love this one.
It really stuck with me too. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago.
Right.
The second best time is now.
Love it.
It's so powerful.
Yeah, and for anyone who feels like they're starting late, that really drives home the point.
Yeah.
That it's never too late
to
begin.
It's not about perfection. It's about progress.
So true. And every little bit of effort counts.
And another strategy that came up consistently was this idea of automating your savings.
Oh, yes. automation.
Such a game changer.
It can be.
Yeah. Setting up automatic transfers from your checking to your savings can really streamline the whole process.
It takes the thinking out of it.
Takes the thinking out of it.
Yeah.
You don't even have to remember to do it.
You don't.
It just happens.
Right. And the sources you sent over even mentioned that, the amount doesn't have to be huge to be beneficial.
It's not about starting big. It's about starting.
Exactly.
Right.
Even small amounts like $4 or $9 can really start to add up.
Add up over time.
Without feeling like, a big sacrifice.
It doesn't have to hurt.
No.
Right.
And it's creating that regular flow.
That regular flow is key.
Into your savings.
And this idea of playing it safe with automation, I think, is so powerful because it removes the temptation to spend those funds.
Right.
Because it's already gone before you even see it.
Yeah.
And it creates the sense of security.
Absolutely.
Knowing that you're consistently putting something aside.
For your future.
For your future.
I'm really interested in this next part because the material you sent over also touched on something I think is super important.
Okay.
The emotional and psychological aspects of saving.
It's not just about the numbers.
No, it's not just about the cold, hard numbers.
Right. There's a real human element to it.
Absolutely.
And what I found really insightful was this idea that seeing your savings grow can actually give you a psychological lift.
It can.
Right. It's a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
It's tangible.
You can see it growing.
Yeah. And that reinforces your motivation.
Yeah.
Right?
It makes you want to keep going.
And it encourages you to stay committed to those long-term goals.
Right. Like a positive feedback loop.
It really is a positive feedback loop.
It is.
And you see that in so many areas of life.
Yeah, you do.
When you start to see progress, you're more likely to keep going.
Exactly. And the sources you shared also emphasize the importance of...
Yeah. So important.
When it comes to saving.
Yeah. Having a clear why behind your actions.
So when you're saving with specific goals in mind, whether it's a down payment on a home, funding education, or retirement, it really strengthens that commitment.
It does.
And sharpens your focus.
It's not just this vague, abstract thing. It becomes a concrete step towards a goal you really care about.
So important. and let's be realistic for a second.
Right.
The journey to building wealth and saving consistently.
Yeah.
It's not always easy.
It's not always a smooth ride.
No, it's not a smooth upward climb.
There are going to be bumps.
There are bumps in the road.
Yeah.
And the sources you sent actually brought up a really interesting point.
Okay.
About practicing self-empathy.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout the process.
Yeah, I love that.
So important.
Oh, important.
Because there will be setbacks.
There will be setbacks.
Unexpected expenses.
Unexpected expenses pop up.
Times when you just feel discouraged.
It happens to everyone.
It does.
Yeah. And I think viewing saving as an ongoing process, right, rather than, this sprint to the finish line, helps you maintain that motivation.
Right.
Prevents you from throwing in the towel when things get a little tough.
Right.
Be kind to yourself along the way.
So true. So as we wrap up this deep dive, based on all the incredible material you shared, what would you say is like the core takeaway?
The core takeaway
with our listener today.
The biggest thing that stood out to me from all the pieces you sent was that saving consistently, regardless of the amount, isn't just a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
It's really a foundational step in building your own financial security and laying the groundwork for potential generational wealth.
So true. And it's about embracing the journey.
Embracing the journey.
Right.
Yeah.
Making it as easy as possible through automation.
Making it easy.
And recognizing that this is about establishing a lasting legacy.
It is.
Of financial understanding and responsibility.
Absolutely.
So well said.
Yeah.
And we really hope this deep dive has inspired you.
Yeah.
Whether you're just starting out with saving or you're already on your way.
Yeah. Keep going.
To either start or continue your journey.
It's so worth it.
Towards greater financial empowerment.
Absolutely. And as you move forward, I want you to consider this.
Okay.
It's not just about reaching a specific financial destination. It's about the journey itself.
Right.
It's the habits you cultivate.
Right.
The knowledge you gain.
The financial wisdom.
The financial wisdom.
You can pass.
That you can pass on.
So powerful.
Yeah.
And remember, this deep dive was tailored to the material you shared with us.
Yeah.
And we really encourage you to keep exploring these ideas.
Keep learning.
In your own life.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
For this deep dive.
It was great.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.